Good morning. My name is Tom Belote, and it is one of the great privileges of my life to minister to this community, which has meant that I have been able to be lucky enough to be a part of Shannon's life and Maureen's life for the past 10 years. Love you, Maureen. We all love you, Maureen. And we all loved Shannon. On behalf of the Community Church of Chapel Hill Unitarian Universalist, I welcome you here this morning as we gather in love and in grief, as we gather in memory and in thanksgiving, as we gather to grieve the loss and to remember the life and the light of Shannon Richards. We come together to knit together parts of Shannon's life and the people and the community who were part of Shannon's life. We come together to honor Shannon and Maureen's great love. We come together to show our support and our care for Maureen, for Shannon's family, for her son Rick, her daughter Tracy, grandchildren. And we come together in community. We honor the communities of which Shannon was a part. We honor as well, besides our congregation this morning, the network of friendships in Ann Arbor, many of whom are watching on live stream. We honor those who knew Shannon and were touched by her as a social worker. And we honor the many, many people fortunate enough to be able to call Shannon a friend. In the last week of Shannon's life, Shannon sat down with a member of our church and wrote down her wishes for her memorial service. What an amazing gift. So all of the readings and hymns and musical selections and parts of the service, even the joke towards the end, how many people noticed that? Are all according to Shannon's wishes. What a great gift to be able to be here in memory and community, and to enjoy this gift of time together. According to Shannon's wishes, I would like to read a portion of The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. A disciple spoke, saying, "We would ask now of death." And he said, "You would know the secret of death, but how shall you find it unless you seek it in the heart of life? If you would indeed behold the spirit of death, open your heart wide unto the body of life. For life and death are one, even as the river and the sea are one." As I begin the service by lighting the chalice, we light it today for the light of Shannon's life. In this time together, may we remember the bright light that she was to all of us. And we light our chalice as well for warmth, for the warmth of love and the warmth of community, which holds us and ever shall hold us.
These words were also selected for us by Shannon. May the light around us guide our footsteps and hold us fast to the best and most righteous that we seek. May the darkness around us nurture our dreams and give us rest so that we may give ourselves to the work of our world. Let us seek to remember the wholeness of our lives, the weaving of light and shadow in this great and astonishing dance in which we move.
I would invite us to sing in the gray hymnal, the large hymnal. You will find hymn number 123, Spirit of Life. And I invite you to rise in body or in spirit as we sing together. Shannon was born in 1942 in Woodstock, Illinois, the second of three children. Shannon, her older sister Sue, and her younger brother Jim were raised by a mother who, I'm told, was rather stern and strict, and by a father who was nice but was also gone a lot of the time for work. During Shannon's youth, the family moved from Illinois to Detroit. As a child, Shannon was often quite sick and was even hospitalized on several occasions. As a result, she was quite thin and was kept indoors a lot. In a childhood that was more solitary than many of her peers, Shannon became a talented guitarist. And though she learned classical guitar in high school, she joined a band that played surf rock and roll. Shannon continued playing guitar all of her life, eventually downsizing to the ukulele as part of our church's ukulele group, known affectionately as the UU Ukes. I'll say her last performance in the music gala was as one of the little old ladies from Pasadena, and we didn't know at the time that she was recalling her surf rock origins. After high school, Shannon left home and lived for a time in a settlement house in Detroit. She met a man and they married, and their marriage brought them to the Detroit suburbs. And Shannon welcomed three children, Dan, Rick, and Tracy, into the world. Her oldest son, Dan, passed away tragically in 2005, and we hold his memory in our hearts as well this day. While raising three children, Shannon's marriage ended, and Shannon was left raising three children largely by herself. During this time, Shannon enrolled in college. As an undergraduate, she studied social work at Oakland Community College and then Marygrove College in the Detroit area, and then earned a master's in social work from the University of Michigan. As Maureen told me about this stage of Shannon's life, I found myself deeply impressed by Shannon's resilience, determination, and strength. She did what she had to do, but she also approached life with an openness and an ability to go with the flow. Strong and resilient. As a minister, I often get to know people during one stage of their life. I might get to know a teenager in a rock band, but not that person as an elder. And here in Chapel Hill, in this community, most of us met Shannon in her 70s. So we didn't get to know the Shannon who wore bell-bottoms. Maureen described this period of Shannon's life, and you should know that Shannon was pretty groovy. As Maureen put it, oh, Shannon was cool. They were all hippies. Shannon practiced transcendental meditation and joined an intentional community based around interpersonal communication, focusing on cultivating trust, openness, realization, and interdependence. Shannon's grooviness is part of her story. And another part, an enormous part of Shannon's story is her career as a social worker. Catholic spiritual writer Henri Nouwen writes about the wounded healer, the person who responds to their own experiences of pain and struggle by developing an inclination to help others face their struggles. I think Shannon probably pursued social work as a response to her own hardships as a child. But I also think that Shannon went into social work because it was such a fit with her personality and her way of being in the world. Shannon was an excellent listener who met people where they were without judgment. She easily connected with people from all walks of life, regardless of background or race or sexual orientation. Shannon was gentle and had a way of being with other people and made connections easily. Shannon's social work career included being a therapist at Huron Valley Child Guidance Clinic and at the Bixby Adult Psychiatric Hospital. She retired from the Washtenaw County Department of Public Health, where she directed the maternal infant health program. And for 2 years, she facilitated a parenting group at Dawn Farm, a drug and alcohol treatment program in Ann Arbor, Michigan. In the late 1980s, Maureen answered a personal ad in the local paper. Oh, no, it was your personal ad. Shannon answered a personal ad in the local paper. Their first date was meeting at a Greek diner for breakfast, and they hit it off. The date continued, taking a walk and looking at ice sculptures. As a couple, Maureen and Shannon connected with a community of women in Ann Arbor. This community played volleyball together, provided support and belonging. Towards the beginning of their relationship, Maureen said to Shannon, "We've both done hard, why don't we just do easy?" The love they shared together came easy to them. It was a source of deep comfort and warmth. After 20 years together, Maureen and Shannon left their beloved community of friends in Ann Arbor and moved to Chapel Hill to be close to family. And while a big part of their hearts will always be in Michigan, Shannon and Maureen made deep connections here, especially within this church community. In the 15 years they've been a part of this congregation, Shannon was a member of the caring ministry for almost all of them. Such an amazing group, and I think the people in our community who Shannon reached out to, checked in on, and visited were extra lucky to receive her care. Shannon also played with the Ukes, appeared in the music gala, and Maureen and Shannon were also diehard volunteers with the Interfaith Council for Social Services, taking up collections, volunteering at the shelter. Ever the social worker. But most of all, Shannon and Maureen built deep connections, friendships, and community here in Chapel Hill and at this church. One of the pinnacle moments as a couple, and for all of us as a community, took place here nearly 10 years ago in the early spring of 2015, when Shannon and Maureen shared their wedding with us. It was their legal marriage finally being able to be legally recognized for what had been a relationship and a partnership for 26 years at that point. Their marriage was already a reality between them and within their community and in the eyes of God. Shannon and Maureen's wedding was spectacular and lives in lore as the greatest party the congregation has ever enjoyed. Yes. If you weren't there, it began with 14 ukulele players dressed in rainbow colors, processing 2 by 2 down the aisle, leading Shannon and Maureen to the front of the sanctuary, playing "Going to the Chapel, We're Gonna Get Married." Such joy, such laughter, such love. Shannon's love brought her and Maureen here to North Carolina to be closer to family and to be a part of her grandchildren's growing up. Rick and Tracy, your mother, loved you deeply. Comet, and to Robin and Arbor, your grandmother loved you deeply. Oftentimes when I would speak to her at the check-in of a meeting, they would mention how you're doing and her being proud of you. One of Shannon's last trips was a trip to Germany in June of 2023 to attend a family wedding. The trip was all the more impressive considering that Shannon had had a fall and had broken her hip a little more than a month earlier. And she set an ambitious goal to rehab and recover to be able to take that trip and to celebrate, and she did. Shannon bravely made the best of challenges she faced, illnesses in childhood, single parenting, the loss of her son. And Shannon lived the last 14 years of her life with Parkinson's. In recent years, Shannon lost more and more control over her life to this disease. Falls became more numerous, pain increased, and her spine bent forward as she lost the ability to look up and see the sky or to meet the faces of those around her. As a social worker, Shannon helped people to reclaim their sense of agency. And Shannon, in her final days, claimed her own sense of agency in her dying. She chose her time, entered hospice, and chose who she would spend her final days with. With the help of a member of our congregation, she wrote final letters to family members and put together the program for her memorial service. I marvel at the agency Shannon displayed. This time was such a mix of love and loss, tears and strength, empowerment and letting go. Shannon included these words that she asked me to read at this service. First words to this community. Shannon says, "I would like to thank the congregants of Community Church for their acceptance and love during Maureen's and my life together in North Carolina. Many of you were at our wedding, which was an incredible highlight of my life." To which I say the pleasure, Shannon, was all ours. And Shannon also included this verse, which she asked to be read to Maureen. "My love is like the river stream. It moves with force and then breaks free. Love moves in and calms the soul. We ebb and flow as years they go." Shannon lived a full life, a good life, a life of service and support and community and connection. Shannon lived a life of deep community, of friendships built upon trust and openness and interdependence. Shannon lived a deep life with deep love for Maureen, deep love for her family, deep love for her community. It is an honor and it is a blessing that Shannon was and is a part of our lives. I want to invite forward the members of Luminescence.
May I suggest to you, may I suggest this is the best part of your life. May I suggest this time is blessed for you. This time is blessed and shining almost blinding bright. Just turn your head and you'll begin to see the 1,000 reasons that were just beyond your sight. The reasons why I suggest to you, why I suggest this is the best part of your life. There is a word that's been addressed to you, addressed to you, intended only for your eyes. A secret word, a treasure chest to you, a private scenes and brilliant dreams that mesmerize. A tender lover's smile, a tiny baby's hands, the million stars that fill the turning sky at night. Oh, I suggest, yes, I suggest to you, yes, I suggest this is the best part of your life. There is a hope that's been expressed in you, the hope of 7 generations, maybe more. This is the faith that they invest in you. It's that you'll do one better than was done before. Inside you know, inside you understand, inside you know what yours is finally set right. And I suggest to you, and I suggest this is the best part of your life. This is a song, comes from the west to you, comes from the west, comes from the slowly setting sun. This is a song with a request to you, to see how very short the endless days will run. And when they're gone, and when the dark descends, we give anything for one more hour of light. May I suggest this is the best part of your life.
We are going to hold now a time of shared memories. And how this time works is that we're going to begin with family members and people who maybe Maureen has spoken to ahead of time. And then we'll give them the first opportunity to speak, and then we'll maybe hold a time for anyone within reason. We're probably, we could be here for days, knowing the love we hold for Shannon, but we're going to try to do that. I will be the MC. Well, I'll start with family, and then as people, as the time goes on, we'll have people raise their hand if they want to say a few words, and we will share in a way that honors our love and our memories of Shannon. And then the last word will go to Maureen in this time. Are there any memories that people are wanting to share?
Yeah, the thing that I learned about Shannon, just in the recent last year, 2 years, is just how strong of a woman she really was. I continually underestimated just how much resolve she had Like, I thought she wouldn't make Germany. I saw her and I was like, there's no way she's going to make it to Germany. And she toughed that out, and she toughed through so many things. And right up to the very end, she was surprising me all along. And that's the one thing I will say, that I just underestimated her all along, and I don't know that everyone else did, but she was certainly a strong, strong woman.
Hello. My mother was absolutely one of the best people I've ever known. She was a role model for me. I was in a bad situation in Michigan, and she got on a plane, flew to Michigan, and drove me back here. And this is where I've remained to stay close with her and my family. She will not be forgotten. Her light will continue to shine bright. Thank you.
Are there people who would like to share a remembrance? No? Yes, come on. Come on up. Come on up. You might just say who you are and how you do. Yes, great.
Yes. I hope I can get through this. So, my name is Karen Burns, and I was Shannon's last patient. And during a long illness with severe depression, she stood by my side and encouraged me until I came out on the other side. Along the way, she also invited me to join herself and Maureen on many outings, including visiting this church. And we became close friends. In reading her obituary, it's clear she helped many people throughout her life, through her social work profession and otherwise. I witnessed the progression of Shannon's illness and saw it become very physically debilitating, but I never once saw it break her spirit. In fact, she told me, "You just have to be tough." And that she was. I'll greatly miss my friend Shannon.
How y'all doing? My name is Gonzo, and Shannon is one of my gracious, beautiful best friends, her and Maureen. We often had breakfast together, many times over, and we talked about a lot of things. A lot of times they listened to my problems, as Shannon was a social worker, and I had a lot. But to piggyback off her Germany incident, Shannon, Maureen, and I was actually having breakfast that morning at this restaurant we like to go to, and that is where Shannon had a fall, right? And when Maureen was telling me that they was going to go to Germany, I too was skeptical. I was like, nah, she just failed. She broke her hip, you know. But there you go. Maureen said, we're going to Germany. And I said, okay, I'll see y'all when you get back. You know? But they are a beautiful, beautiful couple. And they are well-deserved each other. Physically, I've always seen it as us being a triangle, you know. And physically, one part is no longer there, but spiritually, in all ways, she seals the edge. So I want to thank all of you all for coming here to see your farewells and your appreciation and your love for Shannon and Maureen. And to your family, it is so, so true how much she loved y'all. I mean, she greatly, greatly loved family. So I'm not going to take up any more of your time, but thank you all for coming by and seeing your farewells.
My name is Mary LeMay, and I've served with Shannon on the caring committee at the church for quite a number of years. I don't know how many years. I was always impressed that she was so well organized. She kept data, like how many people we visited, how many suppers we provided, how many rides we took. Not all the time, but she was good at that. And I haven't heard anything other than that memory of mine that would indicate that she really did work. She worked, I don't know that she considered it work. Certainly wasn't hard because she was always cheerful when she was doing it.
I'll speak on behalf of the Uyuks. She was such a dear friend to us, and her musical talents were amazing. And when they got married, and really it's a special memory for all of us, the whole church, they said, we're going to have you all march down the aisle, playing music, singing. We had never done any of this before. I'd never heard of a wedding where the married couple, or the to-be married couple leads the way. It was so creative. It was so Maureen and Shannon. And we worked so hard. It's such a simple song, but a beautiful song that involves harmonies. And it was really just so spontaneous and so wonderful. And it was so both of you. So thank you for bringing your love into the church and involving all of us.
Hi, I'm Katie Downs, and I'm here to represent the Michigan community. So we go back to when Maureen and Shannon were in Ann Arbor, and as part of the graciousness of both of them, we have met some wonderful people. Kathy and Sue, who were here at your wedding, Margot and Carol, who may be seeing this from Canada, and hopefully other folks in Michigan. There's 4 of us here that are here to support you now. And we just want to thank you all for sharing this and for what a gentle, gentle person Shannon is.
Oops, I'm Kathy Putnam, And I always felt like Shannon and Maureen were social workers, that they really lived their values. And one summer, we were at Bynum Front Porch listening to music. We were going to listen to music. And Shannon said, I'm going to go to the Moral Monday and do civil disobedience. Well, I wanted to do that, but if Shannon had not said that, I wouldn't have been there. So I think she was the role model, and she did lead the way on so many things. And one of the things she also participated in often is on Friday, there's a meditation called Lectio, where for an hour, 3 verses are read and people speak out. And Shannon often was, toward the end, because she was often the quiet person who didn't say much, but when she said something, you listened. And one time, she decided that she wanted to do something different and creative. And she led us through kind of a guided meditation. And, I'm such a rule follower, and it was just such a wonderful kind of experience to have her do that. We were kind of neighbors as well as church members, and every now and then we'd get a phone call, let's go out to eat. And so we'll just be doing this with Maureen, and Shannon will be with us in spirit. And I will echo how much she loved her family and how often I heard about Rick and your husband, yes, and how much you did at the house to fix things up so things were really available to her. And so one day you can come to somebody else's house. But thank you. Yeah, that was just so practical and so helpful. And so, thank you.
I'd like to recall their love of music and their support of the arts. I think it was my first year at Susie, and I had a number of performances, and I was struggling to find my way. Who could I connect with? And Maureen and Shannon showed up at every one of my performances. They were at every one of my gigs. And at the last one, I was just kind of scratching my head, and Maureen goes, Eric, we're your groupies. And I have kept that right here next to my heart ever since.
You have time for one or two more. And then,
My name's Sam. I'm a neighbor. Apologize for I get too emotional. But lived in the neighborhood a quarter of a mile from Maureen and Shannon. And a little over 2 years ago, I had my knee replaced. And about the third day or so, who should come to my door but Shannon, Maureen, and Mr. Finn. And they made me some lunch. And best of all, they sat there for a good time and were just them. It was beautiful. And about a month ago, Shannon and the three of them walked the quarter mile to my house. I live down a gravel driveway, 75 feet or so, and it goes up about 10 or 15. Shannon in her walker appeared at my door. Bent over. She'd come to visit, to see how I was doing. And again, it was like a beautiful light in my living room. I've only known them
a little bit. And they are so incredible. Thank you so much just for being you. Thank you.
We all have wonderful memories to share, and following the service, we hope you'll join us for some cookies and some refreshment and spend that time sharing stories and fond memories. Would you like to? Yeah.
Good morning. Now, I just thought of a long kind of writing of this. You know, I love Tom, and the eulogy of Shannon is so beautiful and so right on that I'm going to have to skim through this. Thank you for coming. Such an outpouring of love for such an amazing woman. This service is live streamed. So we have Shannon's grandchild, Robin, her husband, Daniel, and their newborn baby, Bella, singing this service in Germany. My cousin from London, England, is also seeing this service. Friends from Toronto and Newfoundland. In the States, we have Shannon's sister and niece in Florida. Friends from Michigan, Arizona, California. My brother and niece from Wisconsin, New York, Abba from Kansas City, Missouri, and if I'm leaving anybody out, I apologize. Words used to describe Shannon is her quiet determination. She was loving, courageous, fun, enjoyed being with other people, and family. Many mornings, Shannon would be up at 5:30, watching a movie, deleting emails, or watching news on her iPad. There were mornings, not that long ago, where Shannon would be hemming her pants. You see, Shannon lost 7 inches due to osteoporosis and Parkinson's. Shannon only weighed 115 pounds. She would, because of her tremors in her right hand, slowly and many times fall asleep, whereupon waking, she would begin again. Shannon was reading Louise Penny and could read only a few pages at a time, and yet she persisted. She was not able to finish. All of us are at the gala. Remember Shannon being part of the little old lady from Pasadena, and how great it was seeing her participate. Having to step away from the caring committee was a very hard moment for Shannon. And as Tom said in his eulogy, her life she had many, many jobs in which she worked with people in many, many different capacities. And when coming to Chapel Hill, Shannon continued helping others through her work at Homestead and counseling the men at the IFC shelter on Wednesday evenings. Now, I'm going to say this. I thought about this before, but Gonzo, you're here, and you can appreciate this. Shannon would go on Wednesday nights, and she would have maybe 3 to 4 men that she would counsel. And Gonzo would be at the door and say it to her, Shannon, I'm going to walk you to your car. And those of you who know Shannon know that her response to that was, oh, no, I can go. I can go to the car by myself. And so Gonzo just waited and walked her to the car. And Shannon would come home, and I'd say, did Gonzo walk you to the car? And she'd say, yeah. And I always have a smile on my face, and I want to go with this. Yes. Because if I had a tomb for Shannon, a tombstone, on it would be the words, I can do it. And, it was like, She was like a post person, you know. Neither hail, snow, ice, sleet would keep her away from going to work. The eventual decision that Shannon made came by looking at herself and seeing all the losses she endured. Shannon saw her future consisting of more falls and more hospitalizations. This was not how Shannon wanted to live. She read a book, and the book talked about voluntarily stopping eating and drinking. This meant a lot to Shannon, because over the years she thought about how she wanted to end her life. That was something that she wanted to be in control of. So the decision that she made, and on October 7th, Shannon entered the Jim and Betsy Bryan Hospice Home of UNC, a wonderful place. Shannon's sister Susan and niece Colette came from Florida and stayed a few days. I'm going to back up a bit and say that when Shannon was having all the falls, and we tried to have people in the neighborhood come and help, but it was too unpredictable when the falls were going to take place. So Shannon finally said, I think it's time to call hospice. And then she did so. My friend Molly came, just Shannon's friend as well. She asked to come and stated it would be a privilege to be with the both of us. Molly stayed 4 days. Molly would sit on the rollator at the end of the bed and massage one then the other of Shannon's feet, taking her time. And the look that passed between them, each was enjoying this precious moment. Carol Palm and Susan came and sang and played. Tom came. Susan McDaniel read the poems of Mary Oliver. Shannon enjoyed The Whistler. I think, Susan, you might have read that twice. The weather was beautiful, so Shannon's bed and chair could be moved outside. Sometimes Shannon would slip into sleep and feel bad. Sometimes Shannon would slip into sleep and feel relief. Lawrence and Ivy came and cried. Rick and Tracy stayed overnight with their mom, as did Ken. It was a beautiful and sad time. Shannon was given morphine for the pain. The nurses came in regularly to check on her. Shannon died on Saturday night, October 19th at 11:08. As Tom told you, Shannon planned the service. Shannon wrote letters to Rick and Tracy and Albert and Comet, and Robin, her great-granddaughter soon to be born, and me. So Bella was born shortly after Shannon died, and there is a letter for Bella from her great-grandmother. Shannon died her own way. Parkinson's had control of her life. Shannon controlled how she chose to die, with dignity and with courage, doing this her way. Shannon was a role model. We too may have this choice. Shannon's best day was our wedding day, March 14th, 2015, and I get to say, on December 7th, 2024, ditto. Thank you.
These words from Mary Oliver, selected by Shannon. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this. The fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends upon it, and when the time comes, to let it go. To let it go. I invite us to rise in body or in spirit as we sing our last hymn of the morning, Blue Boat Home. It's number 1064 in your teal blue hymnal. I would invite us to please be seated. I want to introduce this part with a little story, a joke before the joke, if you will, which is that when I first came to the church here, I got to meet Maureen about 3 months before I met Shannon, since Maureen was on the search committee that resulted in my coming here. And when I first met Shannon, I'll admit that I kind of let a little of the, judge a book by its cover, because Maureen seemed wild and a bit of a troublemaker. And Shannon, this is judging a book, I thought, oh, Shannon's role in the relation must be the one to keep Maureen out of trouble. And this was a very wrong assessment. This was a wrong assessment. I remember at their wedding, we have music, we have words, we have prayers, and then comes the moment in the ceremony where they speak, the most sacred moment of the wedding, where they speak their vows, their sacred promises to one another. Maureen goes first and speaks so beautifully and eloquently from the depths of her heart. And then Shannon says, ditto. And my jaw dropped there. I thought, oh my goodness. And then, so when I learned that Shannon wanted the service to end with a joke, and we're going to have Jean come forward and tell it, I was not a bit surprised. Jean, do you want to come up here?
So
All right.
I'm Jean McKinney, and Shannon asked me to tell this joke. And there are many versions of it, but this is the one that Shannon told. So a cat, elderly cat, died of natural causes and ended up at the pearly gate. And there was St. Peter, and St. Peter said, "My child, you've had such a hard life." "Ah, yes, I have. I had to live in the alleys. I was hungry and cold, and people threw boots at me. I was never appreciated." "Well, in heaven, we like for you to be comfortable. What can we do for you?" "I would like a house all my own." "We can do that. Anything else?" "Oh, I would like a cushion to curl up in, a soft cushion." "Done," said St. Peter. Well, the next day, 6 little mice died of a tragic accident and ended up at the pearly gates. And St. Peter looked at them and said, "Oh, my children, you have lived such a hard life." Yes, we have. We were chased by dogs, by cats, by women with brooms. What we want. We want to be able to move fast and never run out of breath. And St. Peter said, "I have just the thing." And he pulled out 6 pairs of tiny little roller skates. And all the mice put them on, and they went, whee! Off they went. Well, St. Peter was a really good caretaker, and about a week passed, and he was making the rounds. And he came to the cat's beautiful house, and the cat was asleep on the porch on his cushion. And St. Peter very gently woke him up, and he said, "Well, how is it here for you? What can I do for you?" And the cat went, "Oh, it's so wonderful here. I just love it. It's more than I could ever imagine. And I especially like those Meals on Wheels that you said."
So I'm going to give us, Jean, thank you so much. going to give us a few closing instructions and lead us in the end of the service. So we're going to have a short benediction, and then we're going to extinguish our chalice together. I might ask Jen to go down and extinguish it for us. And then Eileen is going to play, fittingly, some Irish music. And we are going to enjoy about the first, we'll all just sort of sit and enjoy the first few minutes of it, and then in a moment I will lead the family out, and we're going to go to just straight out the door and just keep going straight until you get to the Jones Building, where there will be refreshments and some cookies, and I'm going to lead the family over there. And so as you leave, we will follow them over and reconvene over there. In the midst of love and loss, we are so grateful for Shannon's life. We're so grateful that Shannon's life was a part of ours. So grateful for the love and care that she extended to her communities, to her clients, especially to her family, and most especially to Maureen. We carry with us this day the lessons of her life, strength and resilience in the face of hardship, a depth of caring and listening, an ability to connect with depth to everyone she meets. Her love, her laughter. For these we are grateful, and we will carry her memory with us. Amen. And blessed be. And won't you join with me in the words we say as we extinguish the chalice, saying, "We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again."
heavenly stuff. Oh, it really is.
Yeah. It's what I feel like playing most of the time now is the harp, you know? It's feel free to try it out.
I had a high school classmate, even back then, was a few years ago, her name was Rita Church, and I went online, she's still over.
Pedal harp?
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I just remember that she was this extraordinary.
That's great.
You have to change the strings.
Really, once in a while, one of them just breaks.
Right.
Sometimes when I'm not even playing it.
Right.
They're,
Are they nylon?
these are. At the top, these ones down here are some kind of metal
I see
wrapped
that.
in them.
Yes, I see that.
And you know what's interesting? These, when I tune it, all the bass strings, if these are low, the rest of them are high. If these are high, these are low. And I don't know why. Just the different materials.
Yeah, yeah. I've always been, the sound of it is just, it's just amazing, it really is. And Harpo could really play, Harpo
Yeah.
Marx. I mean, I've seen
He
footage
was
of it, he can really
fabulous.
play, yeah.
You know what though? When he first started playing, he had it backwards, turned like this end.
Really?
Yeah, because he didn't know.
Right.
So he had to start over. But my
Oh,
goodness,
okay,
what a
wow.
player.
Yeah. Oh. Right, that was a lovely service. Right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. They don't come any better than her. It's just.
You know, I can't say I knew. I mean, I didn't know her that well. I mean, I liked her, and I remember their wedding. It was fabulous.
She loved music. Real loved
So
music.
you knew her through the union?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. And the thing about it is, she was always so quiet, And I hear these stories of that she was this little old lady from Pasadena. She was so droll, in her humor. Anyway, yeah. Ditto. Yeah, right.
That's such a funny story.
Yeah.
What an amazing life though.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness, yeah.
These flowers are exceptionally beautiful. I think the arrangements so If you wouldn't mind just holding this.
No, no problem. Like that.
Yeah. It makes it so it's easier to get it in there.